Hello and Happy New Year to all. I hope you're all well and thriving this January. I've spent the last few weeks moving into a new flat where none of the heating works. So I've spent the majority of the time wearing about 10 layers whilst constantly shivering. But in better news, firstly, welcome back. This week sees us finally kick off the new releases coming our way in 2023. And to be honest, I'm pretty pleased that it started with a solid band and a solid album. That album being Never Going Under by Circa Waves. Circa Waves have maintained a decent flow of releases over the past 7 years, alongside their most prominent song, T-Shirt Weather, a song recognised and respected by the majority of indie fanboys and festival goers alike. Circa Waves are a band I've always kind of appreciated from afar. They've consistently made new releases, all of which I've pretty much enjoyed, and I rarely hear them put anything out I'd consider to be bad. But despite all of that, they've never really entered my regular listening patterns. Nor would I say they're one of my favourite bands, to be honest. But will their new album make such a permanent impression on me that such circumstances are about to change? Well, let's get on with it then. So after taking a look at the track list, I've decided to split songs up in categories for this one. We've got meh, easy listening but pretty average, good and interesting, and very good. So starting off with meh, we have Northern Town. This song just felt a bit flat to me, and I get it was taking name at nostalgia and a hearty old northern town. And don't get me wrong, being from Yorkshire, I'm a sucker for songs like this usually. But for me, it didn't quite have enough conviction behind the song and just kept repeating the words, in a northern town. And that isn't enough to really tug on my heartstrings. Thankfully though, the album only had one song that felt meh to me. Moving on to easy listening but pretty average, we have Electric City, Hell on Earth, Your Ghost, and Golden Days. I think the issue with these songs is I felt like they could have been released back in 2015 on their first album. They're not bad songs, but they're certainly below par for where I'd expect a band on its fifth record to be. They reflected pretty simplistic indie rock songs without outstanding lyrics. And don't get me wrong, they aren't bad songs at all, they're just not particularly great. And I was hoping for a bit more from Circa Waves with these four. And to be honest, it'd just be music that I'd have on the background rather than specifically listen to myself. For good and interesting songs, I felt Never Going Under, Carry You Home, Want It All Today, and Hold On really hit the spot for where Circa Waves should be at. These four songs reflected either a slightly different style or a very well-written indie rock song. Hold On was on the borderline of entering the very good bracket for me. I just needed a little bit more development or polishing up, but I did really enjoy the pacing, the style and the lyrics, and to be honest, it's probably the third best song on the album. The bouncing piano riff on Want It All Today also took me by surprise, with a lumping style walk tempo to the song patrolling you through and gripping you, reflecting a really great alternative style of a song that Circa Waves can come up with. To be honest, I was hoping that the album would be full of this kind of thing, but it was great to see glimpses of Circa Waves making these kind of choices with their music now. Finally, in the very good category, we have two of the singles from the album, Do You Want to Talk and Living in the Grey. Do You Want to Talk has a great hyperactive style to the song, and it's Circa Waves simplicity done to its best, I'd say. The tune is full of catchy hooks and good vibes while sounding neat and polished. It reminds me a little bit of Do You Want It All by Two Door Cinema Club, especially on the chorus. And it's certainly one of my favourites from the album. I think if Circa Waves aren't reflecting a slight style change in their songs, this is exactly the quality I'd be expecting from the band on their fifth album. And realistically, this song made me both happy and sad that this song was on the album. It reflects the fact that they can do their classic stuff to such a high standard, but it also was a bit disappointing because 4 or 5 of their classic style songs on the album weren't to this standard. Finally, we come to Living in the Grey, which sees the album off to its finish. It's a great song that feels quite dramatic and serious in its nature. I really did enjoy this track and it could be my favourite from the album. Gets me feeling in a serious mood, providing the best soundtrack for when I spend my hourly routine of staring out the window when it rains and pretending I'm in a film. The only issue I'd take with it is it feels a bit out of place as the last song on the album. The vibe from the song makes me feel as if I'm about to get started or I'm leading up to something. And to be honest, I feel it'd have been better as the opening track on the album. But hey, maybe Circa Waves meant for it to feel like that. And you're actually just meant to have this album on one long constant loop all of the time. Or maybe it's a sign of things to come. Or maybe it's just out of place in the track list. Or maybe, and most likely, I'm just wrong. Overall, I feel that Never Going Under brought us a pretty solid and standard album from Circa Waves. I feel you're getting exactly what you're expecting, which is both a good and a bad thing. There's some flashes of development from their previous work, seen in songs like Hold On. There's also some of your standard Circa Wave stuff, but refined and done really well, to the point where you feel Circa Waves know exactly what they're doing, reflected in Do You Wanna Talk, which again is kind of what you're expecting from a band on their 5th album if they're not changing their style. I think, like I said earlier, the album is let down a bit by the remainder of the songs in the easy listening but average category. You can clearly see that Circa Waves as a band have the talent and experience to create some more experimental tunes but also master their classic style of song. But the issue is there's too many songs that still sound like Circa Waves from 2015 on the album. They're not bad songs, they're good but average indie rock songs. The average songs on the album aren't bad, but they feel out of place and kind of disrupts you listening to the album, as there's clearly flashes of great songs or a new style on this one. Overall, I think I'm feeling about a 7.1 out of 10 for the album. I think I'm just waiting for Circa Waves to take that extra step up and reflect the confidence and quality that they have at this point. And to be honest, I'm excited and hopeful. It's reflected in what they do next. But let me know, what did you think of this album? Do you disagree with me entirely? Most likely. And on that note, I think I'll say ta-ra for now, and I'll see you later.